Hello teachers, my name is Chelsea Peters from Mango Tree's Northern Uganda Literacy Program. This video will explain to you Mango Tree's English literacy model, which we have developed for primary school classrooms in the Lango subregion. This model was developed to support the Lango literacy model. We believe that when two literacy models complement each other, children are able to learn more easily in a fun environment. Let's take a look. Transitional bilingual education system. In order to understand Mango Tree's English literacy model, we first need to take a step back and look at the Ugandan education system. Uganda has dozens of ethnic groups and over 40 recognized languages and dialects, but English is the unifying language of the country. Children from all over the country need to gain a quality education and learn English, but how can we make that happen? Uganda uses what is called a transitional bilingual education system and is sometimes referred to as an early exit model. What does this mean? This means that children study in their mother tongue during lower primary in order to gain a solid foundation in a language they know and understand. The content of the curriculum is delivered to them in the local language from P1 to P3. English is just a subject at this point in time, not the language of instruction. The theory behind this model is that the knowledge gained in their own language can be transferred to another, enabling children to learn English more quickly. P4 is the transition year, acting as a bridge between lower primary and mother tongue instruction to upper primary, where the language of instruction is English. You may wonder how this knowledge transfer happens. Monolingual versus bilingual classroom. The Ministry of Education and Sports' policy on English education states that local language should be avoided during the English language lesson to give children as much exposure to English as possible throughout the week. The idea behind this kind of approach to second language instruction is that you want to maximize the amount of time pupils are exposed to the language. The challenge here is understanding. Imagine you are a P1 pupil in a village classroom. Nobody at home speaks English, and the only time you hear English is for 30 minutes a day in your English lesson, where there are 100 other children also unfamiliar with the language. Would it be easy for you to learn? Mango Tree has adopted a bilingual English classroom approach that helps teachers utilize both Lango and English in the classroom to support faster learning and better understanding among learners. This helps make the English classroom an active, supportive environment for language learning among young children. We embrace code switching. Code switching is the use of two different languages in the same conversation. People who speak more than one language sometimes use words from those different languages when they talk to each other. When children are learning a new language, code switching is very common. You should accept this practice among learners in your classroom as they learn new English words and phrases. This means that your learners are positively adopting both English and Leblongo words into their growing vocabularies. As a teacher in a bilingual classroom, you should view code switching as a normal, natural product of language development. Megatree's English Literacy Model. Our approach to P1 English literacy instruction takes the transitional bilingual educational model and helps you apply it on a weekly basis in your classroom during the daily oral English lesson so that learners are able to first gain confidence and competence with the sub-theme of the week in their first language, and then transfer that knowledge to their second language, English. On Monday, when you introduce new content, your pupils will first learn it in Leblongo. Discussing the content in mother tongue on the first day allows them to easily talk about what they already know about a topic. New content is introduced in the language they know, and then that knowledge is transferred to English. This approach creates a strong foundation for rapidly improving your learners' English language acquisition. English lessons become much more interesting to learners as they can actually understand the content of the lesson and create meaning from the words. Oral language instruction in P1. The Ministry of Education and Sports has designed an oral language curriculum for P1. This is geared towards developing pupils' listening and speaking skills. Oral language provides the foundation for literacy development. You see, children who are learning to be literate in English need daily opportunities to first learn and practice their oral English skills before they learn to read and write in this new language. Children learn English first by listening to a language in use around them, while using context to figure out what the spoken words mean. At the same time, they are developing their reading and writing skills in their mother tongue, so that in P2, they can use their foundation of literacy in their own language to learn how to read and write in English. In order to make sure that our children have the best possible learning environment, we need to use some simple and effective teaching methods. We know that children learn by doing, but in order for them to be successful, we have to set them up for success. What do I mean by that? In our model, the teacher always demonstrates for children how to do all of the steps in a task they will be expected to perform. I do. Next, the teacher asks the pupils to do this task together with her or him. We do. Finally, the teacher has the pupils, either as a group or individually, do the task on their own. You do. By following this method, you not only introduce new content effectively, but also give learners a chance to practice new content together with you. Total physical response. Total physical response, or TPR, is a method developed to help children learn second languages. According to TPR, our ability to memorize and remember words is strengthened when we connect those words to physical movement. This approach is best used for beginning language learners, like our lower primary pupils. We have incorporated TPR into our English instructional model through songs and chants. Songs and chants have corresponding actions in them that require learners to move and use their bodies to express the actions in new vocabulary words and structures. Children also learn to follow simple one-step commands that require physical movement and response. The benefits of TPR in our model are many. Learners get to move around and use their bodies. They memorize and comprehend new vocabulary more easily. And learners who need to be active to help them learn new content get a chance to do so. TPR activities are especially good to use in classes with many children and few instructional resources, as learners only need their bodies. Simple to complex. Now let's look at the building blocks of the English lessons and how through scaffolding we put them together. This helps us move from the simple to complex. There are 4 parts of the Mango Tree English Literacy Model: songs, vocabulary, structures, and phonics. We apply scaffolding within the termly and weekly schemes of work so that we build on what we have already taught. This way, new lessons reinforce previous lessons. The lessons are based on routine and repetition. Lesson plans are simple and laid out in a way that is teacher-friendly and repetitive. Each week, the sub-theme of the lesson changes, but the formula for the daily lesson plans remains the same. As the teacher, you help learners make direct links between past learnings and the introduction of new ideas by starting with easy tasks first and then building on the skills learners have mastered in order to introduce more difficult tasks. This helps learners move from the known to the unknown. Now let's take a quick look at some of the other features of our English literacy model. Locally developed instructional resources. Our P1 English materials have been developed specifically for learners in the Lango subregion. All of the lessons are based upon learners' personal experiences with the region where they live. The English lessons are tied to the Leblongo literacy lessons through the characters in the pupil primers, as well as through common vocabulary words related to the weekly sub-theme. Our English materials are about 2 characters, James and Sarah. They are cousins to a Pio-no-chen, the twins in the Leblongo model. Sarah and James live in Kampala, so they speak English as well as Leblongo. This is exciting. Children spend P1 and P2 learning about one big extended family in both English and Leblongo. Our model for English instruction can be adopted to support second language learning all over the world. This particular model is tailor-made for Ugandan teachers in rural primary schools. The method works in a classroom of 100 children or more and follows the Ministry of Education's thematic curriculum. The instructional materials are low cost, teacher and pupil friendly, and easy to replicate locally. We know that it is not easy for a teacher with 100 children to use a continuous assessment model. That's why we have included simple, easy to use activities and tools for teachers with large classes to help you, the teacher, track individual learners' English literacy attainment on a weekly basis. The assessments are tied to the competences identified by the Ministry of Education for English instruction and are built into the weekly lesson plans. To ensure that you can complete these assessments, every Friday in your English class is a continuous assessment day. So that's an overview of the Mango Tree English Literacy Model. If you have any questions or want further information, you can visit our website www.mangotreeuganda.org and read more about the work we are doing in early primary literacy in Uganda. Thanks for listening.